Has there ever been a feeling that your kindness goes unnoticed or, worse yet, is taken for granted? If so, you are not alone in our society. Genuine generosity often goes unnoticed or evokes apathy. We are raised with the notion of putting the needs of others above our own. From a young age we are told, share, help, give back, and so we grow up, filled with the desire to do good. But what if our responsiveness turns against us? What if people start seeing us as a source of endless help and support? In our modern society, this is a harsh reality. Sometimes the more generous we become, the less we receive in return. This applies not only to time or money, but also to our energy and inner peace. Stoicism teaches us about balance and self-preservation. However, we often realize that we exert ourselves too much. Today, we will try to figure out how to find the optimal solution. Together, we will explore 10 negative consequences of excessive kindness. By understanding these reasons, we can achieve harmony. Therefore, if you have ever felt that your help is not appreciated, this video is for you. Number 1. Excessive kindness can lead to being perceived as a weak person. Stoicism teaches us about inner strength and self-control. It teaches us to set boundaries and be disciplined. However, there is a challenge here. If you are always ready to help others, it can create a wrong impression. Finding a balance between assistance and excessive kindness, which can sometimes lead to misperception, is difficult. Imagine this situation. You are always ready to help, but others see you as someone they can unload their responsibilities onto. This can create an impression of weakness, and people may stop appreciating your contributions. Here's the key. Start saying no clearly and politely. Imagine yourself as someone who respects their time and values themselves. When you set boundaries, it changes how others perceive you. You no longer become someone who is ready for anything. You become someone who deserves respect. Saying no is not just a refusal. It is an important statement about your significance, a sign of inner strength rather than weakness. So, the next time you feel tempted to say yes when you really want to say no, remember this. Stand your ground. It is a necessary statement of your strength and worth. Number 2. Unrealistic expectations can lead to disappointment. Here's a fundamental truth of Stoicism. Happiness should not depend on the actions of others. By adhering to this principle, you avoid disappointment and maintain emotional stability. Let's be realists. Although it's not always easy, you show generosity, deep down hoping that people will respond in kind. You want them to see and appreciate what you do. But what if they don't? This is where we encounter disappointments due to our expectations. Think about this. You always take responsibility, provide a service, and help others. Naturally, you expect others to do their part, right? But when that doesn't happen, it causes pain. As a result, you feel tired, frustrated, and disappointed. All people are entirely different. Stoicism reminds us of a harsh truth. We cannot control the actions of others. We can only control our own actions. It's difficult to give without expecting anything in return. Try to let go of these expectations. Don't expect gratitude or repayment for your service. However, when you offer assistance without any obligations, you gain freedom. You do it because you want to, not because you expect reciprocity. So, the next time you extend a helping hand, try to shed those expectations. Don't expect gratitude or repayment. The true value lies in the act of offering help, not in what you receive in return. Such a mindset will help you maintain serenity, regardless of what happens along your path. Number 3. Excessive generosity attracts inappropriate people. Here's the philosophy of Stoicism. The energetic vibrations you emit attract like-minded people. When you experience positivity and emotional equilibrium, you attract generous and sincere individuals. But if you constantly give without pause, you begin to attract needy people. These are not the ones who uplift and inspire. These are the ones who seek to take more than they can give. Imagine being a person who never says no. You're always there, always ready to help. It sounds enticing, doesn't it? But soon you notice that the people around you don't strive to give, they simply take. Even worse, you may attract those who will exploit your generosity. The Stoic solution lies in balance and awareness of your boundaries. It's essential to establish certain limits. Learn to recognize when you're crossing the line in your generosity. Setting boundaries is a pivotal moment. When you do so, you preserve your energy and attract the right people, those who appreciate what you offer and are willing to give. Think of it as a two-way street. You want to be surrounded by people who respect you and what you bring into their lives. To achieve that, you must respect your own boundaries. Give, but don't allow it to deplete you. In doing so, you build relationships based on mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than mere one-sided giving. This is the path of the Stoic, balanced, respectful, and authentic. Number 4. Sacrificing oneself for the sake of fulfilling the needs of others. The philosophy of Stoicism teaches us that life should be meaningful and just. This means that we must know when to prioritize ourselves. When we are constantly preoccupied with the problems of others, we may be avoiding our own inner struggles. Continuous service to others leads to a disconnection from our own essence. Our own voice fades away in the noise of their demands. And when we finally have a moment of rest, all the fear and pain we ran away from come rushing back. Stoics teach us that taking care of our own needs is not selfishness, it is a necessity. It's about preserving our authentic essence, setting boundaries, and exploring our own path. It is not only beneficial for ourselves, it is the key to a true life. So the next time you feel the urge to lose yourself in the problems of others, pause for a moment, confront those heavy emotions face to face. Be true to yourself, to what you truly need and desire. Learn to say no when necessary. You will find that by respecting your own boundaries, you will be in a much better position to help others in a healthy and balanced way. Number 5. The trap of perpetual giving. The philosophy of Stoicism recognizes the value of moderation, especially in terms of how we give. It's like navigating a ship through the boundless sea of demands. When we give too much and too often, people start expecting even more. They become accustomed to us, always taking a step forward. At first, it may seem pleasant, but it's a dangerous situation. The thing is, people naturally seek ease. If we always take responsibility and solve problems, we essentially allow others to remain in their comfort zone. They don't feel the need to step forward or face difficulties because they know we can handle it. But this affects not only them, but also us. In the end, we take on a burden that is not ours, and it depletes our energy and emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches us to find balance, to give, but not so much that we lose ourselves in the process. When we start setting boundaries, something interesting happens. People begin to realize that they can't always rely on us. They start taking responsibility for their own affairs, which is beneficial for both them and us. A wise quote by Seneca reflects this idea perfectly. True generosity consists precisely in fighting to give what is needed and not what is requested. This quote reminds us that sometimes the greatest gift we can give is not fulfilling every request, but providing others with the opportunity to meet their own needs. It is in this balance that we find the true essence of generosity, a generosity that enriches all participants without depleting anyone. By practicing balanced generosity, we maintain control over our lives and avoid the trap of perpetual giving. Remember, it's not just about being generous, it's about being wise in our generosity. In doing so, we help others without losing ourselves in the process. That is the true art of giving. Number 6. Excessive kindness can arouse suspicion. Stoicism teaches us to live according to our values, regardless of others' opinions. The goal is to uphold our principles and establish a genuine and steadfast reputation. However, in a world where true kindness is rare, excessive kindness can raise eyebrows. People may begin to doubt your motives. They may ask themselves, why is this person so generous? What does it mean for them? It's not necessarily that you've encountered cynical individuals. Often, it's just a realistic reaction. People are accustomed to seeing kindness with a catch. So when someone comes along who strives to give everything and help, it can appear suspicious. In many cases, they've encountered individuals who appeared kind but had hidden selfish motives. This experience makes them cautious and even skeptical of genuine displays of kindness. This doesn't mean you should diminish your kindness. Rather, it's about finding a balance. Be kind, but also be transparent. Let your actions speak of your integrity. Remember, it's not about seeking approval. It's about remaining true to your values. Over time, consistent and balanced kindness can break down the walls of suspicion, demonstrating the sincerity of your intentions. It is this authenticity that Stoicism advocates for, a virtue that withstands the tests of time and skepticism. Number 7. The danger of falling into dependency. Stoicism warns us about the risk of losing balance in life, especially when it comes to giving. It's all about moderation and self-control. When you give too much, it can lead to serious consequences. You may start seeking ways to cope with stress and emotional exhaustion. This is where the risk of dependency comes in. You may find yourself overeating or perhaps engaging in excessive gaming, all attempts to fill the void caused by constant giving. The philosophy of Stoicism calls us to listen to our loved ones. If a friend or family member expresses concern, it's worth paying attention to it. We often deny the possibility of dependency when faced with it. It's easier to brush off their concerns than to acknowledge the problem. However, these remarks usually come from care and love. Embracing such feedback is a step towards self-reflection and growth. It's important to remember that those who care about us aren't seeking to criticize or condemn. Taking their concerns seriously is a way to show respect for ourselves and our path to a balanced life. Serious Stoicism in real life involves using moderation and self-control to avoid harmful behaviors that can harm our health and happiness. Ultimately, acknowledging and overcoming these risks is a sign of strength. It signifies our commitment to our own well-being and our pursuit of living in accordance with Stoic principles of balance and self-analysis. Number 8. Overcoming issues related to unbalanced relationships. Imagine being the person everyone relies on when they find themselves in a difficult situation. It feels good to be needed. But then you start noticing that you're not invited to weekend dinners or casual get-togethers. You help these people in their tough times, but when it comes to sharing joy and pleasant memories, you're left on the sidelines. It seems like they consider you good enough to lend a helping hand, but don't want to share a smile with you. This realization can be hurtful, because you're not just an assistant. You're a person who also seeks fun and connection. This is a typical situation. People often categorize others based on what they can offer. If you're always ready to help, that becomes your label. And what's the result? You miss out on the opportunity to become an equal and true friend. Such a situation is unfair and worrisome. you start to wonder, are you valued for who you are, or only for what you can do for others? Now let's consider the Stoic approach. Stoicism doesn't mean the absence of emotions. Rather, it's about understanding human nature and behaving wisely. This situation is an opportunity to reassess your relationships. It's a test of your ability to discern who appreciates you as a person and who sees you as a means to their ends. It's challenging, but it's important. You learn to identify true friendship and establish boundaries in one-sided relationships. Moreover, Stoicism prompts us to reflect on our own role in this dynamic. Do we perpetuate such behavior by always saying yes? Are we giving due attention to our own needs and desires in our friendships? It's about finding a balance between helping others and remaining true to ourselves, setting boundaries and expressing our own needs. When we understand this, we attract more authentic connections into our lives. We start to attract people who appreciate us in our entirety, not just for our willingness to help. Overcoming these issues is an act of self-respect and mutual respect. It's about investing our time and energy in people who value us fully. Such an approach not only aligns with Stoic principles, but also leads to fulfilling and balanced relationships. Number 9. The absence of reasonable boundaries with close individuals. The pursuit of Stoic wisdom entails the ability to establish boundaries in various areas of life, including interactions with our loved ones. Often, it is most difficult to firmly say no to family members and friends. We experience fear of hurting them or appearing indifferent to their requests. Furthermore, these relationships are built on trust and care for one another. However, Stoicism teaches us that genuine care for others does not mean unconditional self-sacrifice. It requires the ability to respect and value our own strengths and resources. Sometimes our loved ones take our willingness to help for granted, without considering that we also have our own boundaries. They become accustomed to our constant availability to them, and at some point we realize that our own needs have taken a back seat. As Seneca said, helping friends must have its limits, otherwise we ourselves will become the ones in need of friends. It is important not to fall into extremes. We are not talking about completely refusing help, but about lovingly and resolutely defining our boundaries. If someone asks for help, we can promise to help to a lesser extent within our capabilities. For example, if a relative asks for help for the entire week, we can explain that we can only dedicate the weekends. The key is to calmly and respectfully express our position without feeling guilt or shame. After all, isn't it better to help a little less, but with sincerity of the heart, rather than doing it out of duty and resentment? As Marcus Aurelius said, "It is better to refuse when you can give than to give and then regret and resent." Gradually, start practicing the skill of refusal in trivial matters or non-urgent requests. Over time, you will gain greater confidence in setting boundaries in serious matters. The important thing is to act from the heart and remember that taking care of oneself is also an expression of self-love. Your loved ones may initially be offended or not understand you, but if these relationships are truly mature, they will understand your right to say no. In this way, you will establish healthy and respectful relationships where each other's needs are valued and respected. This is the manifestation of genuine Stoic wisdom in interpersonal connections. Number 10 is the underestimation of personal time. One of the greatest gifts we receive from life is time. However, in the busyness of everyday life and the constant desire to help others, we often overlook the value of this precious resource. The strategy of Stoicism lies in treating time with care and using it wisely. In the fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into the trap of endless obligations. We react to every request, agree to unnecessary meetings, and eventually realize that our true existence is passing us by. As Seneca said, the greatest waste in life is the loss of time. Before agreeing to the next request or obligation, ask yourself, is it worth your time and attention? Learn to value your hours and minutes as you value money. Once time is spent, it cannot be regained. Prioritize important tasks over secondary ones that truly matter in your life. Life is short, and no one knows how much time we are allotted. Therefore, cherish each day and hour, fill them with deep meaning, and don't squander them on trivial matters. Then you'll be able to say, I haven't lost a single day. This is truly a Stoic approach to time as the greatest gift of life. In conclusion, it is worth noting that Stoic wisdom teaches us that balance is key in all aspects of life. If we give too little, we may appear selfish, but if we give too much, we deplete our own energy and time. The ideal approach lies in subtle nuances, where we find the right balance between helping others and taking care of ourselves. Always remember that when you are unsure whether to give or not, the word no can become your greatest ally. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up if the video was helpful to you.